Merry meet and fare thee well. Settle in for a story with me, Astin Gaël. This is going to be a collective daily message for February the 12th. I am recording this on February the 12th. Um, so, As mentioned in the previous daily readings, I will be reading an excerpt a day from this book until there are no more excerpts. The general idea is to use the excerpt as the theme of the reading. This is What There Is to Love About a Man by Rachel Snyder. I picked it up at a thrift store um, shortly after my system and I started our transition, or at the very least made the decision to start our transition. And it was a pivotal moment for me to be able to pull these excerpts up in my moments of questioning my identity and seeing, the softer lens of man um, through the eyes of women that love them. Uh, all right. So, some business. Tomorrow, Friday, February the 13th, um, I will be opening the Buy Me a Coffee shop for personal readings. The link to book a personal reading is in the description box down below. Gentle reminder that my system is legally disabled, but unable to get on disability at the moment. So, sharing stories, creating art is our sole source of income. So, tips are always appreciated, but giving me the opportunity to co create a story with you is even more appreciated. All right. Um, Jeans. Thank you, Levi Strauss, for giving us jeans. Rear hugging, thigh rubbing, leg loving jeans. Standing up in the corner after a week of muck and mud, or hanging crisp and creased for a weekend of merriment and mirth. Jeans fit a man everywhere a man ought to be fit. Like down in the cellar or out back of the barn, Sundays at the clinic or Saturdays at Little League practice. Buttons and zippers and rivets, oh my. Painted on jeans, sitting atop dusty boots or wrapped around his Harley. Loose and baggy jeans, riding perilously low when he's trying to caulk that hole under the sink. Jeans just right when he's meeting his son's new sweetheart for noodles and getting to know you. When he's sitting on a rock and staring off into a distant place. Pay attention and you can learn a lot from a man's jeans. Like what road he's been walking down and how much dust he's kicked up along the way. So first things first, I have to zero in on pay attention and you can learn a lot from a man's jeans. The first image that came to mind is the telltale skull can uh, imprint that happens on the back pocket of a man who chews uh, in every pair of pants they wear, but they normally are jeans wearers. Secondly, um, cuffed cuffed pant legs. This was a popular way to wear your pants in the 50s, I believe, for men. And I don't think that it meant what it means in the 20th century society, which is it's usually a telltale sign that somebody identifies as bisexual. I'm not for sure when that came about in the history, when that was a signaling, but I know it is a signaling. Um, The last thing, signaling. Uh, hankies tucked into the pockets of your jeans has been long time um, ways of signaling in the LGBTQIA community um, what position you take in the bedroom. Um, yeah, I guess there's a lot about jeans that is important or um, interesting, I guess. There's a lot of history with jeans. I seem to remember watching a documentary on how jeans actually get made, with the indigo uh, being used. Yeah, it's an interesting subject for being just pants that somebody wears. Um, I've got the deck of chaos out today, and I've also got my charms. I think I'm going to start by tossing charms. Men who wear jeans, and who they are. I'm not for sure what we're going to get with this story, but I'm interested to see. I'm seeing images of like electricians, um, types of jobs where like if you don't wear jeans, you're unsafe. Okay. I didn't do a very good toss, and that's just because I don't want to lose charms underneath my porch. But I also am interested in the fact that this all landed in the focus. Um, Today's astrology has us quite it's difficult to remain in the present because it's the astrology of today is pulling us back and pushing us forward. We're future thinking or reminiscing. um, Mercury, which is in Pisces, is conjunct the North Node, which is also in Pisces. And the North Node obviously relates to forward movement, um, but it also has you looking at your past to see where you've gone wrong. None of this is related to genes. Okay. All right. Area code 213 could be significant. I don't know what that area code is. I will put it in the video. Somebody in that area code is experiencing a high level of anxiety right now, either about being cut out of somebody's life or having to cut somebody out of their life. Gentle reminder that this is not me remote viewing anybody's world. I do not have the capability to do those types of things. Um, Divination practices are simply a method of telling a story. So I am simply concocting a story from the ground up right now, and it may come out as one fluid story, like it's a final draft of a novel. It also might come out like popcorn, bits and pieces, like you're creating your first draft. Okay. We talked about mirroring a couple of days ago in the daily reading, and we talked about how a lack of mirroring in one's childhood can lead to a lack of affect in adulthood. You have an inability to show emotions properly because they were never mirrored to you. um, there's an aspect of that coming through here. um, it's also, this is how I'm going to tie it into genes, right? uh, you can tell a lot about a man by his genes. Um, all right, let's talk about like a man and painted on jeans. There's actually a song about that. It's a country song, and I can't think of the words right now. Um, But when you think about a man in painted on jeans, you either think about a man who is very comfortable in their femininity and may possibly be homosexual, or we're thinking about those rodeo cowboys. Uh, and I can't help but think about the movie 8 Seconds. Uh, One of my favorites from the past. But why it was, I'm not exactly for sure. Um, sitting atop sitting atop dusty boots or wrapped around his Harley, these painted on jeans. Um, all right, let's just talk about the man in 8 seconds, okay? Um, we're talking about a man who pursued a dream that may or may not really have been his dream in an attempt to impress his father. It was the only thing that he and his father had in common. Um, yeah, you don't see any of this guy's childhood really in the movie, but I imagine from what you see of his father that he was not exactly a mirroring type of father. He makes a lot of money in this movie, and is able to take care of things for his dad, which I always find interesting with male male relationships, father son relationships that are centered around this type of behavior. That the younger man, the son, believes that when they are able to financially take care of their father, that will be the day that they like earn his respect, but that's extremely emasculating. So it's like that's the least likely way to earn somebody's respect that takes pride in being a supporter, a provider. Uh, so it seems like there is a person. I'm not gonna say man because it's somebody in masculine energy um, that has made it to success in some way. Um, but either they have been cut out of the lives of a lot of people as a result of climbing their way to the top, or they have had to cut down a lot of people, quite possibly through emasculating them. It's interesting because it seems like the sons of these types of fathers uh, collect friends that they can enact that power dynamic with. Um, so, like in the movie 8 Seconds, uh, he partners up with a woman who is on the rodeo circuit and turns her into a wifey. Basically takes away her hopes and her dreams before she really even realizes what's happening. And then has friends that are also on the circuit, but they are not as accomplished as him. And so they do the driving, they do the lackey stuff, unloading and loading the car, and he's Mr. Superstar. It's usually not until a midlife crisis or the late years kick in until a person like this um, has to look at themselves in the mirror. They avoid mirrors that mirror back the aspects of them that they're trying to hide up until that point. Um, when they're completely alone, they have no other choice. Those aspects start coming out, whether they like it or not. the mask is just far too gone. Let's see. I'm gonna throw out some. I'm gonna throw out some astrology at you, just in case something resonates. Okay. Mars energy. Um, uh, which, is going to be assertive, very sexual based. Um, I grabbed an issue of the Santa Fe Reporter today, the annual Love and Sex issue. And I won't tell you much about the article that I found the most interesting because it's not appropriate for YouTube. But what I will say is that the American Cancer Society predicts that 36,000 people with prostates are expected to receive a diagnosis of prostate cancer in the year 2026. It is recommended to have 21 O's per month to prevent this from happening. Uh, so, if you are a person that wears jeans and you are also a person who has a prostate, it is essential to pay attention to your health. All right, let's see. Interesting things to say today. All right, Aries. Aries is strong here as well, which Aries and Taurus both are, I was gonna say, Emperor energy earlier with the Mars showing up. There's a lot of Mars energy. The other thing I saw today was lots of menfolk out buying Valentine's Day flowers today, and it is the 12th. Uh, some of them didn't look like they were going to make it through the weekend. Not the men, the flowers. And they were $35 for like a bouquet that only included maybe two roses or like lilies, really nice flowers. Everything else was like carnations. I just I can't fathom spending that much money on just something that's not going to make it through the weekend. Uh, but we do this though, don't we? I don't know, maybe to overcome the lack of emotion mirroring. We supplement with things. This is kind of becoming an anti-Valentine's Day reading, isn't it? Uh, I am very anti-Valentine's Day because it's a Christianized version of the Roman holiday Lupercalia, which I won't go into today because I just don't have the time, nor do I really desire to make an entire video about Lupercalia, but it has nothing to do with roses, I'll tell you that. Um, nothing to do with roses and chocolates. That actually has a lot more to do with what I was talking about just a second ago. Um, let's see if I can get any more information about this person in the 213 area code. The Six of Swords. Six of Swords. Okay, so there is an energy of recovering or release, which, you know, I hope I'm not correct in assuming that somebody out there is receiving a big C diagnosis, because yikes, like it's a devastating thing to receive. But if you are recovering from something like that, I'm so glad. But this is more like a recovering of the mind. Um, I don't like my stories to get too dark and dreary, so I kind of am hoping that there is a person like Lane. That's the guy's name in 8 seconds, based on a true story. Uh, I hope there is somebody out there that was raised to be like Lane and has overcome, has recovered that toxic patterning of being emasculated by a father that is domineering and grim. His dad was very grim, uh, and is able to not pass those characteristics along to their sons, and to not treat their buddies. That's the thing that bothered me the most about that story, is the way that those types of the younger men, the sons, the way that they treat their friends. It's not it's not a person I'd ever want to be friends with. I know that. 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years. Uh, 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years. 555 is representative of change. So I'm willing to believe that not only can these types of men change, but that that there are men who are actively changing. This is a very positive channel when it comes to masculinity and men. I do not tolerate uh, people who want to use the all men rhetoric, or really all anything rhetoric. If we're generalizing groups as all good and all bad, we're caving in to the powers that be that need us to be divisive. Um, Honestly think one of the reasons that 8 Seconds was one of my favorite movies is because I could relate to entertaining the energy of men like Lane, and seeing the good in them. I can't help but think about the scene uh, at the wedding where he and his friends do a dance, and it's the most wholesome celebration of masculinity in the entire movie. Um, but you know how he's treated his friends up until that point, and how he's going to go on um, treating them worse and worse and worse. And it makes you so sad for the lesser types of men, the ones that don't get to be the top dog. All right, uh, 3 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Um, Honestly, I think that's just saying that our friendships, male, female, and otherwise, are just as important, if not more so, than our romantic relationships. Um, if you can't even be friends with people, how can you expect to be intimate, day to day, for years at a time with someone, same sex or otherwise? Uh, Honestly, if you can't be kind to yourself, how can you expect to go down the road of friendship or romance? Um, so, while I understand that society says Valentine's Day is supposed to be a very monogamous day, um, get out there this weekend and do something as a group. you know, show yourself friendly. Uh, Lupercalia. which is the Roman holiday that Valentine's Day is actually based on, um, was a very polyamorous celebration. If you were sleeping with the person that you normally sleep with, you you were doing it wrong. Hashtag polyamory. Anyways, until next time, be well, be you.